Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Chat with Amita, Sri Lanka's first LinkedIn live talk show. And today it is episode number 37. Think about it. I have been running this show for last 37 weeks without a break. And then let me talk about this show. Originally, when I got LinkedIn live, probably as the second person in Sri Lanka, I wanted to do something different, something that could add value to my LinkedIn family. I have around 16,500 connections, relationships, family members on LinkedIn. So I thought maybe I should create more value for them and decided to bring an expert onto the show. And then, we have been doing exactly what I wanted to do. And then let me talk about what I do when I do not go live. I'm an executive coach. I love coaching CEOs. I have a good client base here, as well as they are from other countries, foreign multinationals. They reach out to me to get their CEOs, CXOs basically, uh, to the next level. Apart from that, I help professionals, and then I help business owners build their personal brand when they want to achieve greater heights. I help them as a personal branding strategist. Apart from that, I help B2B organizations uplift their sales game by working with their sales staff, be it managers, be it sales directors, sales executives. It doesn't matter at all levels, especially in the B2B sector. And of course, I go live every Thursday at 8:30 in the night. And I'm planning to start another live show only on Facebook on a different day, probably in the weekends, to help the SME sector in the country. So today, why are we having this discussion? Now, let me talk about my experience again. I have only one tree at my home. We live in a very small land area, a 10 perch land, big house, one mango tree, and then tiny, tiny other plants in pots and wherever there is little space. And I have seen people building houses, and then, I don't see the greenery that I used to see as a kid. And I'm sure there are a lot of challenges, and sometimes it is lack of knowledge, lack of proper experts who could advise you on how to landscape your property. It could be a commercial property, it could be your house, how to make your house a home. I mean, when we were kids, we had enough trees and enough things around us to enjoy the nature. So I thought I would bring an expert today to talk about landscaping. Now, as far as I am concerned, or any layman would concern, that landscaping is about having some grass and then cutting all your trees. For us, maybe that is landscaping. So whether there is more to landscaping, or is it just cutting all your trees and having a patch of green grass? Now, to uh, know about it, learn about it, discuss about it, I invited an expert. His name is Manjulesh Ratnasekar, and then let me invite him to the stage, and then we can talk to him. Throw in all your questions, comments about landscaping. Good evening, Manjula.
Good evening, Amita. How are you?
Great. Thank you very much for coming. I can already see a plant behind you. I should come to your home and, grab some plants if possible, and so I can fill my space.
Yeah. Always welcome, Amita. And I'm honored to be in one of your shows.
Yeah. This is how I add value to my LinkedIn family, as well as there are people joining from Facebook and from YouTube as well. So, good evening and welcome to all of you. So, Manjula, naturally, whoever come to the show, what I do is, I first ask them about their background, childhood, to a little bit before we talk about landscaping and all. So, you want to say a little about your younger age?
Yep. I'm from Kandana. I studied in the Masonite College. I was a
Wow.
very naughty boy, Amit. Even especially at home, I have an elder brother. So my father had two canes. So you can imagine how naughty we were. And studies wise, I actually did my studies very well until I think O levels.
Hmm.
So yeah, O levels I did okay, but I couldn't I did maths. So everyone wanted to do maths at that time. So and yeah, so I was a very I had a very good family. We were like in a very traditional, very like in a traditional Catholic family. And every Sunday we went to church together. My father used to take us to church every Sunday, and we eat together. We had to say bye in the morning to my father. And my mother was a housewife and she used to look after us. So yeah, that's my childhood.
Okay, great. I can imagine, I'm sure there would have been enough greenery surrounding your house, trees.
Yeah, because my father anyway a horticulturist. So while he was working, he started his own plant nursery in Kandana. So we had a huge land with big trees, huge trees. So I was most of the time I was in mango tree, I was climbing the mango tree all the time. So I'm a monkey. I'm a monkey.
I can imagine from where you got the influence. So then what happened after your school era? Okay, you have finished your schooling, and then what?
Yeah, any other student who who didn't go to university, who couldn't go to university, you are lost. You don't have a direction. So luckily my father's one of the elder brothers, he direct me to IT field. So he wanted me to follow NIBM. So I did NIBM. And I did I was so happy to be in IT at that time. And then I did part time. I did computer repairs. I used to go to places and help people to do their computer repairs. I did some tuition in computer science. So and that was my like you know yeah, that's where I started my IT career. And I got another opportunity again through my father's contact to work at a multinational company as
In the
IT
IT
personnel.
field.
Yes, IT
Okay.
field. And from there, I think I was a more network person. I was a person. So I got opportunity to join the marketing team, my international company. So yeah, then from IT, I moved to marketing.
Okay. So you would have gone around the country and then did sales and all that.
Yes, Samita, because that company taught me how to build the network and how to do a sales call, and especially to be with I mean with all stages of people, with natamis, with the trivial person, with the mudalali, with the mudalali's gola, and to how to be with each and every personalities. So it's not about looking get that name sir, get the respect. We don't need to we have to earn the respect. So that I got the initial basic education from that company. So yeah, I went around. I was around. I still have that network. Even if I go to Jaffna, I
Okay.
have a contact.
It's so amazing. I come from a sales and marketing background, and then many who comes here uh, apparently have gone through that sales and marketing era in their lives. amazing, and then eventually they become entrepreneurs. So, talking about your next level, how did you become an entrepreneur? So, you were working in the corporate world, and then uh, what was the triggering point?
Yeah, like I told you before, like before the before working for the company, I used to do some small tuition classes. I used to play earn some my my pennies. And when at that company, I felt like I need to start my own company and earn my own penny. And I, I really had that in my mindset, like one day I need to have my own, and my personal company. So after leaving the company, I gave my resignation with a huge risk, with working for a multinational, getting all the perks, and suddenly you lose your job, you don't have anything, these multinational companies, you give everything. And when you come out from the job, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
But I started my IT company in 2006. So yeah, eventually, I used to supply different types of items from China, again IT parts. And
Okay.
then I started my IT my rent-a-car company. I had two companies, so IT company and the rent-a-car company.
That's your entrepreneurial journey.
Yes, the start of it.
Yeah. So, looks like you have been having success right throughout
Not
without
at all.
any, not at all. You want to
Not at
talk
all,
about it?
Amit.
You want to talk about
Yeah,
it?
we always think when the money comes, it's very easy. Business is very easy. You see money and you know how to spend. Okay, you see vehicles, you buy the vehicles, and you want to party, you spend money. So one point, yeah, there was a internal fraud, and I figured out I'm zero. It's not zero, it's minus. So I all the dreams. I mean, there was no dreams. I couldn't even imagine a dream. So yeah, with my father's help, I managed to uh, get away from whatever the bankruptcy. Um, so I was silent for about 6 months. I didn't do anything.
It was a shock.
It was a shock. It was a shock. I couldn't believe it, because I thought, when you trust somebody, and when you even your employer, if you trust somebody, I thought, they'll adhere to that trust, and they will definitely help to build a company, which is wrong. So I think that is the lacking part of me, with not having any educational, that educational background. Even what I feel is not only the practical side of it, you need to have some sort of a theory, so which it was lacking.
Yeah, but then I believe every mistake, every rejection is a lesson.
Exactly.
Yeah, but maybe it was a little costlier lesson than a normal lesson.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So, okay. So you thought, okay, I will further my education, because you also thought, okay, if I knew something, it would have helped you. Yeah. So you decided to further your education, did you?
Yeah, Amita, because at one point I thought, okay, this is not, I can't give up, because I have to, I mean, giving up is very easy. I thought, without giving up, I should start my life again. So then I realized, okay, where I'm lacking. So I need to get to know all these tools, the financial management or whatever, tools that, I should learn.
Yeah.
And mainly the network. I all my contacts at that point was the senior management level. It's very difficult to get a favor from that level, and I mean, they are definitely busy. So I thought, I need to have a middle management level contacts. The easiest method, I thought, do an MBA and get to know the students. And I
Wait,
knew
wait, wait,
all.
Manjula. Manjula, now people do MBA for career progression. There are other objectives. People don't do a master's degree to get to know who is in the class. Tell me, you did that was one of your primary objectives?
That was my primary objective. Even I had arguments with my project director, the program director at that institute, and he did about 2 or 3 interviews with me. He rejected. He once said MBA is not to make network, but I said no, I need to make network. Which
Amazing.
succeed, Amita, which succeed because I got one of the biggest projects to one of the MBA mate of mine.
Okay. Amazing. So I think I need to associate you more. Yeah, so to learn some of those, I consider myself a good networker, but then I can see that you can take it to a completely a different level.
Yeah, I'm learning from you
Amazing.
also, Amita.
So, how did so how did you enter the landscaping business? Is it just because your father had it, or you had a liking? You said you also had a have a elder brother. So, what made you like? You have gone through. You had rented cars, IT business, and then you have ended up coming back to the basics, like your father's business.
Yeah, it's like this, Samit. Even though an IT company stopped functioning, I started my rent a car again, and then that's also mainly to network to I will have network with the corporate sector.
Yeah.
Landscape, of course, I think it was my in my blood, and one of my friends offered, and he knows about my story. Then he offered me to offer. He actually asked me to offer for a tender. So
Okay.
for a government project, okay, I'll name it the Southern Highway, the Canowin Arcade. So I managed to get it because of the lower price, or maybe I really wanted to get the business. And yeah, that was my first job. I they were really happy. The client was got really happy, and through the client I got another few other business as well. That was the
So
starting point.
and the client was happy.
Yes, that's mainly I always believe that client should be happy after a job done.
Okay, so then I think about Richard Branson here.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite quotes. If you get an opportunity, and if you don't know how to do it, first take it, and then learn it. And as you do it, you learn it. I
Which
know.
yeah, which I did, Mithun, because I didn't know anything about there was no practical. I had practical knowledge when my father used to take us for landscape projects, and he actually trained us. His main thing was he always said do a quality job, more than anything. We used to send whatever the grass sods we are getting. If that is not quality, I mean, at that small age we used to throw that away and ask the supply to take it and bring it a new load of grass sods. So I think with I got my father's opinion and help there as well, my first project. But yes, I didn't know anything about landscape at that time when I took the job.
Wow, superb. So we have Derek. Hi, Derek. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Wonderful insight, Manju. Good show, Amita. Thank you very much for coming. It's little late evening on a Thursday night. Coming and commenting here is appreciated. That's an encouragement for me and Manjula both. So, my next question: what did you learn? Did you learn anything in your first project?
A lot, Namita. Especially how to please a client, and how to work with other stakeholders, the contractors, the other building contractors, coordination part. Sometimes you want to do the work, you have time, you have people, you have the product, but the other construction part is not done, so we have to wait, we have to coordinate. So I always make friends. I always say, Machang, we need to get this son sorted for me to finish this job. So, and even handling the workmanship, it's not easy. And especially in Sri Lankan context, you can't treat them as workers. You have to
Yeah,
like treat them as teammates. So I always believe in that. Like I always treat them as my like own buddies.
yeah,
Yes, there is a certain extent, like sometimes when you go overboard, like it's not easy. But yes, I learned a lot to like manage the workers, the team, and especially the supply management, like credit terms, credit management, and like especially the financial management. I mean, like from the past, what I learned, and that time, like I had to be very careful with it. So yeah, so I learned a lot there.
amazing. So we haven't still come to our key area yet. Yeah.
True.
So let us get into that area about landscaping. Right. I mean, I may take some of these questions and then uh, throw them out later as questions and answers in other platforms. So my first question: landscaping has different meanings in the minds of a layman like me. To be honest with you, there was a time that once I thought landscaping is about having or planting a patch of grass. That's landscaping in my mind. Not today. I mean, there was a time I thought that's landscaping. Okay, and then I also thought sometimes landscaping is all about getting rid of all your big trees.
Because
Sorry about my ignorance at that time, right? Not now. I am sure, because we never learn these things at school or anywhere else. It's just the general knowledge of what you hear. If somebody comes and talks like, I know landscaping, and then probably he's the only source, and probably I'm also talking about an era where we didn't have internet per se. Yeah. So when it comes to a landscaping project, a real landscaping project, who gets involved?
number one, the client. I mean,
Okay.
we have to listen to the client. We have to like talk to the client and like not the client. What I meant is client means like the husband, the wife, kids, or whoever who lives in that place. So that understanding, whatever the understand, to get that under, get that understanding of the client, the needs. So that's number one. And yes, the architects. I mean, like architects when they build. I mean, we are getting a lot of support from them. Like with the architects building, we are going to get them a nice landscape. And yeah, the designer, the landscape designer, the co. They are after the client and the architect and the designer. Of course, the horticulturists who create the plants, who actually root ball,
Wait,
who
wait,
get
wait,
them.
wait, wait. So the horticulturist and the designer are two different people.
Two different people, Amita.
Okay.
It's like how do you say? Yeah, a chef and like whoever who makes the raw materials to make a malupang. I mean, like something like that. So and you have another party called developer. So horticulture, the designer, the landscape designer do the designing according to the maybe the architect's the building concept and the design. After the designer makes the design, you give it to a developer. So developer decide, okay, what quality plant I should get. Like if the designer says this particular plant you have to plant here, so developer goes to the horticulturist and get the quality plant. So there's like three parties when it comes to the landscaping get involved: the developer, designer, and the horticulturist.
Wow. Okay. I can imagine there are a lot of misconceptions now. I mean, you are clearing them, you are clearing the doubts. So, in the meantime, we have a dear friend of mine, Ahmad Munir. Probably he's in Candy now. I would like to ask, what are the unforgettable restart points in his business? Munir, if you have missed the earlier part of it, he was talking about all those things. Of course, the replay is available. As soon as this is over, you can go back and watch the first 10-15 minutes where he shared some of the unforgettable experiences. Even I wouldn't forget them, looks like. Yeah. So you talked about the the people who are involved in a landscaping project. It's not the architect, it's not the horticulturist, but then it's not even the developer. Yeah, of course, they are there, but the designer and the developer and the horticulturist, of course, you are getting the inputs from the architect, and center is the client. That's
Yeah,
what you just told me. Yeah.
true.
So let's say I am building my house. Let's say now I know I want a landscaping expert. So first I cut all the trees. I get the architect to build the house I want, and finally, අර පදිංචියට එන්න කලින් now I want to get into the house, and then before that I need to make sure that my landscaping is right. Then I give you a call, Manjul. Is that right?
No, not at all, Amita. So what I always say, the if you are building, if you're buying a house, the land, you want to build the house. When you call the architect, you should
Yeah.
call me as well, because then I will come in and I will tell exactly. I will have a chat with the architect. I will, if that person, the architect, wants to build a nice house, I will coordinate with him to what plans to leave, what plans to relocate. You don't need to cut down a tree. There's a system called root balling. I mean, it may take about 3 to 4 months to get a proper root ball plant out, but you don't need to cut the tree from the root itself. There's a thing called root balling, which people think it's not easy. I mean, it may take some time. It may take spend. You may need to spend some money there, but you're saving a tree. You got it.
Of course. Of course. You save trees. Yeah, I understand. I mean, I have seen this in Gammudava as a kid. In Gammudava, where they relocate trees. I have seen them in YouTube, but I haven't seen it anyone else doing it. You mean to say that you
I'll,
do that?
I do. I'll give you an example, Amit. I did a hotel project in Gulf side in South. And before, I get involved with the project, I heard that they cut off about 100 to 200 coconut trees. And after
Oh,
building the hotel, I planted about 200 coconut trees. So
wow.
imagine, the cost of, cut down the trees and remove it, cost, and again planting is another cost. So
Yeah,
if
and then
they
and trees would
ask
take
me to come,
years to grow, isn't it? The trees then again
Amita,
take
there's
years
a
to
thing,
grow.
yeah, it does, but you won't believe, we do plant more than 30 feet high coconut trees in projects.
Oh, you relocate them or you bring them and plant them.
We bring them from different places and we plant it. What you see in Port City, they're well-grown coconut trees.
Oh, okay, all right, brilliant. I mean, yeah, I can remember when I pass Port City, I see coconut trees, and then yeah, I used to wonder how come that. I mean, it was the ocean first, and then suddenly the land appeared, and here the coconut trees appeared. I know the person behind it. So we have a question. Let's see. This is Pradeep. Hi, Pradeep. I would like to throw this question. My question is, how is your experience in apartments, budget to luxury? I mean, this is again related to landscaping.
Yeah,
Let's say there is a apartment complex, right? And we don't see any trees, but just concrete most of the
but
time.
Amita, I did one project in Kolpiti. Okay, I always believe that 40% of greenery should come into buildings. I mean, that's something that I really want to if it's one of the dreams. I mean, have 40% of green in the apartments. So yeah, the new few apartments in Sri Lanka, they do grow green. I mean, they have greenery there.
Okay.
If Pradeep's to answer Pradeep's question, if it is his apartment complex, you have a balcony. There are ways you can grow a few plants or few vegetables. I always get the client to grow few vegetables, and the plants I will explain them. Okay, if you have a need, if you like flowering plants, if you like foliage plants, there are plants where you can grow inside a balcony, and where it won't take your space. We say vertical gardening or vertical plants. So yeah, I mean that's the answer to the question. It's about you can talk a lot about balcony gardening.
Okay. I hope, Pradeep, you got some kind of a input from him. Thank you, Manjula. I think one day you should come to my place and give me some tips.
Definitely, yeah.
So, what happens when there are big trees around your house? What kind of a effect? I mean, you are a person who loves trees, and then I would like to get it from you. People don't. We are living in a society where people ask oxygen kannada. We are living in a that kind of a era, right? And then people are dying fighting to protect the environment. So you are a tree man. So what happens when there are trees around your house?
Okay, my childhood, Amit, I had a lot of big trees around the house. So I always I was I want to climb those trees. And what you get, what I'll say, obviously the oxygen. You have a very very calm and very cozy surrounding when you have big trees. And and I the activities, when you have kids in the house. I mean, nowadays what kids do, they have this laptop or the computer or whatever, games.
Yeah.
And I always believe, why can't they get into the garden, or you have a big tree, climb, have your own tree house, or put a rope and try to climb. I mean, there's a lot of you can enjoy the relaxation. You sit down underneath the tree, and you can relax your mindset. You can do your bhavanas. I mean, a lot of things you can do, Amita, when you have a big tree. So only thing is when you have a big tree, you need to maintain that tree as well. You can't just cut off one side of the branches, the tree, and say the tree is falling towards your roof. There are methods you can balance the trees. So that's where design comes in, Amita, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very sad experience. I would say I was living in a particular house, not my own house, and I had a beautiful jackfruit tree, and then suddenly it died. And I still believe, even though I can't accuse someone directly, my neighbor made sure that the tree die because there were leaves falling into his garden.
Hmm.
I mean, we live in such a terrible society where people are going that extra mile to harm a tree, a tree that is lying in. I mean, I don't blame them, but I think I should blame them.
You should.
I mean, you just cut a tree. Make sure not cut actually that the tree dies because you don't like the leaves. It's a society we live in. I understand. So it what you say is it affects the relationship. It creates a very positive vibration at the atmosphere, you know, where you live. That's what you say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So if I want a big tree, I mean, I have a big tree. That's one mango tree, right? Sometimes, we have this discussion with my father-in-law. He says, Amita, it's little too big now. It's time to cut some branches, but my heart doesn't allow me to cut branches. And I'm not an expert. I don't know which branch to cut. I'm sure when you look at it, you will say, don't even touch the tree. But we don't know. No harm done, but then we feel, make a kadang mete either, you have whether it's going to do any harm whenever there is a thunderstorm, maybe. Yeah. So if I want a big tree and I don't know what tree I should plant, what kind of methods do you
So
use?
if you okay, so basically, I always say, like, when when a client calls me and asks that question, I will go there. Like, I don't charge to go there, Amita, because to give an advice, I don't charge. So I when I go there, I mean, if I see that area is, like, very like they need sunlight, like, to the ground, I don't just go and dump. I don't do go and dump a mango tree or a, like, jackfruit tree or a rambutan tree. I will,
Oh,
like, look for a tree where, like, it doesn't, like, cover the entire area. I will, like, go for a, like, small leaves tree where, like, you get at least about 60 to 70% sunlight to the ground level. So where, again, like I told you before, a designer's the view is different than a developer's view. So yeah, that's what I will do, Amita.
okay, Manjula. I mean, I requested some photograph, and I would take the liberty of showing them. I mean, you have sent me few, and I want you to take about 2 minutes for every single photo, and then explain. And then once when the slideshow is over, I'll get back to you. But of course, in the sense, we can take questions from everybody. So let me share the screen, and then you can. I mean, we are talking about landscaping without having to look at anything. That's unfair. So let me share the screen. Yes, 1 second. Share. I hope, Manjula, you can see the screen.
Yes, I can see the screen. Yeah. So
Now, explain this.
yeah. No, this is where, like, I always say, where the designer and the developer comes in. So the first picture what you see is the left hand side. Yeah, left hand side. What you see is a design that, I have designed. Like, I'm not a, like, very good designing, like, computer, like, designing. So this is a sketch that I did, and the second what you see is, like, a design that, I got from a foreign design, like, so there I had to do was only to, like, develop the project. So the first one was a design and developed project, and the second one was only to develop. So that is the first one, Namita. You can go to the second
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Please take time and explain. It's
Yeah.
important.
So this is the one of the, like, hotel project in Ahungal. So the client gave a proposal, a design as well. So most of the plans, like, the design has suggested, like, it was very difficult to source from Sri Lanka, and it was not easy to few plants, few trees where it's very difficult to, like, root ball, and so this is the start of it. If you take the other slide, you'll see the post project,
Mm.
and this is with the help of one of the Mauritius guy. I designed this and I developed this landscape. I'm so happy to see, like, when I go there and you see only green there. You don't need to come out from that hotel.
Okay. So I will go back to the earlier slide. This is just the hotel, and where you can see that empty, bare land, no landscaping, and you see trees, and it's green. That's your work.
Yes, that's green. That's my work.
Okay.
And I got a
Can we
really
go
good
to,
letter from
yeah,
the project
customer?
team also. Yeah, I'm still in touch with those
Okay.
guys.
Okay. Amazing. So I'll take you to the next one. I think we need little detail here.
Yeah, this is, as you see, this hotel is one of the famous architect Babas. So I had a challenge. The client said not to disturb the building or the concept or, like, design of it. So I had to come in. So I there were areas where the grass didn't grow up, and I came up with an idea. Let's go with the infinity pool. So, and what you see is the design, the lawn design was done by me, and
Okay.
I actually opened the hotel to the beach area. So when the opposite of this building is the beach area. So I allowed all whoever the foreigner or the client comes into the hotel to enjoy the pool while sitting facing the beach area. So what you see is here. Yeah, that's what.
Okay, all right. I'm just out of curiosity. How long does it take for something like this to become something like this? I know there could be so many
E-
factors, but then
It's all depends, Amita, because to give a right product, it may take some time. So this particular project took about 4 months for me to finish the
okay,
job. What you see is a very small area, but it was a huge area
yeah.
for me to do the grassing and planting.
And then this is, I'm sure it was the pre-COVID era.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can I go to the next
Yeah. Go
picture?
ahead. Yeah. Next slide.
Now you want to explain this. This looks very familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. Again. So this. Okay, this is also like project in Colombo, and they wanted me to come and do the grass area. They wanted some help. They had a plan landscaper, but I think with a lot of letdowns, they had to get their staff involved with planting. So here, uh, I thought I need to do something nice because I saw the Bandaranaike statue was not visible. The hotel area was not visible at all. So I had to do a separate lawn landscaping here. What I meant by lawn landscaping, to get a perfect grounding. Like it's not a even ground, it's uneven ground. But I had to show the Bandaranaike statue as well as the hotel. So it was a challenge job for me because this particular grass, even my father said not to put, and I took risk. I took a risk and I just did the grass, and what you see, the green there is still the same grass.
Yeah, I can still, it is green. And then with the sea breeze, I don't know, maybe you have done the right thing. It's getting maintained well.
Yeah, it's I was lucky the port cities was coming up at that time because the breeze was not really it was a soft breeze. It was not a a breeze that it used to have before. And I was lucky to get that sort of a project coming up while doing this project.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll move on to the next one. Now, you need to explain this. I can see that you have done a great job here. But then, what was this? This is also part of hotel, or
No, this is a factory, and this was a factory, a tire factory. So I okay, it's the industry is rubber. So I wanted to get more green into it. The client said he doesn't have a big budget, but he wants a beautiful garden. So yeah, within their budget, I managed to get the design done, and I gave them a nice garden. And what you see at the top photo, the picture, finished picture, you see a big pond. And I didn't want people to see that pond because there was not much water. They want to collect all the water, rainwater there. So when the dry
okay?
season, the people won't see the pond. So I have put some plants to cover that area, and the green is there and the yellow is there. It's a very colorful garden that I made. That was my first landscape project for factory.
Wow, beautiful. Okay. Now, tell me, it looks like it's a project for a home.
This, of course, Amit, one of the Chinese restaurants in Colombo again. And the challenge was
Okay.
he wanted a 13 feet height a waterfall, a natural waterfall. I had to take my father's advice here. And
Oh,
what you see, the rocks are from they're all natural. So I had to come up with like not a design, like I had to be there, and like I had to like use a backhoe, a JCB to carry these rocks to get the right the waterfall. It wasn't easy, but with a lot of difficulties, I managed to get the final the results.
Wow, it's beautiful. I can imagine the job of a designer. Imagine, I can't even imagine something like that, a finished product coming up in a inside a room. Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if
let's
you go
go
to
to
the
the
next
next
one,
one.
I will explain like what a designer's eye.
Job is, I is, yeah, okay.
Yes, eye.
Here we are.
So yeah, this client, she actually wanted more space, like for functions, and but she needed like a beautiful garden. So in my eye, I thought it's better to give a nice flower, like give more flowers to the garden, and like more color to the garden borders. So if you go to the next slide, you see the like post project picture.
Wow,
Yeah, so what you
this
see
is beautiful.
is more color, like I saw this before doing this project. So then I
That's
really
what
want
a
to, yeah,
designer
the
do.
fine. Yeah, so the final result was this, Abhita.
Yeah, so let me also go back once again. This is before the project, and you wanted colors around those borders, and here we have colors. Amazing.
So again, if you
And the
see,
client was happy.
client was happy, and the other thing is, Amita, I didn't want the clients or whoever who comes to that place to get bored. So when you stand at one side, you see a different set of landscape. So it's always the eye is so busy, like it's different areas with different landscapes, like land different layouts. So even
Yeah.
if you go to the backyard, you see a different landscape. Like if you go to the left side of the front area, you have a different set of landscape. So it's not boring, it's not something
Mm,
uniform, it's like it's everything is different. So that's, I
amazing.
believe, when it comes to a landscape designer.
Super. Is this the last one, or do we have more? Yeah, we have
I
one more.
think yes,
Different place?
yes. So the question to Pradeep, like this is one of the apartments in Colombo, and you can see a small man there. Like it's a huge area where I did the landscape. There's a third floor. It's all green and color.
Wait a minute. This is third floor on this right
This is
corner?
the third floor. This is the third floor. So I'm happy that architect design or a structural engineer design to like have a beautiful garden on the third floor where the pool is area, the pool area.
So wonderful things can be done. Superb,
Yes.
Manjula. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. And then we have beachside lawn.
Actually, this is Port City. I mean, this is the Gulf area, the artificial beach area. They wanted me to do a like small area for the golf course. So what you see is this, and this was a challenge. Amita, like everyone's think like if you fill up with sea sand, you can grow anything. It's not, Amita, because it's not. You don't get any natural like the what do you call nutrients. So
Nutritions. Yeah.
it's very difficult to like I had to study a lot. I'm still learning. It's like the failures are there. I'm losing a lot of money sometimes because I need to give the right product to the foreign the client.
Client. Yeah.
So I don't want to like lose the client. I don't want to lose the credibility. So even with losing, I'm trying to like give them the right product.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into another one. Wow.
So
I can see.
again, yeah, what I mentioned about root balling, the 30 foot tall, the coconut trees. This is how we do the root balling.
Okay. And then you transport them to whatever the
Yes,
location.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Great. Let's look at the other one. Living with a
Okay.
big tree.
Yes, this is the main subject we were supposed to talk today, right? So
Yes.
if you see, there's a belly tree here. The client says she actually told me not to cut any branch, and I told her like I need to cut few, but I felt like she doesn't like it, so I didn't want to harm her feelings. So I know the branches will damage my lawn. Like the shade is too
Yes.
much, the grass won't grow. So I had to come up with a different plan. So what you see is a gravel area and few plants where you don't need much sunlight. So now she's really happy again, satisfying a client and make her happy. So
Yeah.
that's the area where you can sit and enjoy the lawn.
Super. Super. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this client again, her neighboring, there was a building, a complex apartment. So they were disturbed by the neighbors. So I mean,
The
she wanted
walls.
yeah, because the whoever comes to the balcony there, they can see the neighbors living area and the ground area. So I
Yeah.
gave them a big tree. What you see in the middle is a big tree, and few other palms, couple of palms, where from the top it's very it's very difficult for them to see through the house living area. And I gave
So
them a
your
good shade as well to the rooms.
so your privacy is protected.
Yes.
Living
Okay.
with a big tree.
Big tree again. Amita, this is again a pre. I did this project about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years back. Yeah, 2 years back.
Okay.
And there was a complaint from the client saying that some grass areas are dying. So when
Yeah.
I went there to see the because of that big tree, you don't get the right sunlight to the lawn area.
Sunlight.
So I didn't want to cut the tree branches because the tree is really beautiful. So I came up with an idea, when the area which was dying, I demarcated and put a different plant, which is okay for shade.
Mhm. Okay. So this is the designer thinking
Exactly.
on behalf of the client. Yeah, I can understand. Okay, let me go to the next one. Okay,
I
I
think
think
we are done.
we are done. End of slideshow. Let me get back to the screen. Yeah, this is amazing. I just went to a different world and came back. Thank you very much for all those detailed explanations about what somebody could actually do with his or her land, the project when it comes to landscaping. So, so I shouldn't get rid of my big tree if I have a big tree. That's the message here. So my next question: does it increase or decrease value, or what kind of a value in terms of monetary value that could be brought into a house or a commercial property through landscaping?
Aesthetic appearances, Amita. I mean, you have a beautiful garden, when you have flowers, you see butterflies coming in, you can enjoy the garden. And yes, the economic benefit is there. When you have a beautiful garden, and whoever comes to buy your house, I mean, it's the first attraction. You can
Yeah,
increase the price. Okay.
of course.
And what I really believe is, Amita, when you have a beautiful garden, my personal view, I always give some fruit trees, simple trees, some abul peras, some cherries, some masang tree, where the kid will there'll be a kids will come to the garden. I always believe the whole family should come into the garden and they get involved with the gardening. Touch those trees, the flowers, talk to the flowers, talk to the trees, talk to the plants, and remove some weeds. Good exercise for you. I hope you can remember. Like
Yeah.
I used to say, you bend yourself, pluck some, remove some weeds. It's good for your tummy, and
Yes.
of course the health benefits. You please yourself. You get relax. You can relax yourself, And imagine, like, you're seeing a flower in the early morning, and you see a fruit, like, coming to the right, to the right, whatever the, to eat. So I actually see a lot of things what you can get from a proper landscape. I mean, like, landscape, proper land, the land. So to answer your questions, there's a lot, Amita. Like, I mean, I believe in the family values. Like, it gives more the family to, like, have more bond when you're in the garden. I mean,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. So my next question is, uh, when it comes to cost, okay, you have been telling so many things, but there's cost involved, right? And then, uh, like, how does the cost, when you make the cost, like, how does the cost will appear, from where the cost will come, and then how best would you help the client to minimize and manage the additional cost of landscaping?
I always talk to the client, Amit. I ask the budget, and okay, something that I do. When I talk to the client, if I see that, this client is more into, like, plants or the trees or green, I want to give the best to him or her. So
Okay.
the cost, yeah, sometimes I do things for losses as well. Like, even I give the budget. If I feel like, that tree is not right for that place, I'm not going to bother the client. I will not go and say, look here, you have to spend more amount of money to give a bigger tree. So I play that game. I actually remove that plant and I put a bigger tree. And so, without, harming the feelings of the client, I give them the right product. And when you say, like, budgeting, there are, like, different ways you can, like, do landscaping, a beautiful landscape, even for a, like, lower price or lower budgets. Like, there are, like, even common plant.
Are you like,
Can Yeah, you're breaking. Hello.
looks like I had a network issue.
Yeah.
Maybe I have lost my
Okay, welcome back, Amit.
Manjula,
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
no
First
problem.
time, but then luckily I had another network. I think my network had an issue, so I had another network, so I got connected to it. Anyway, you want to repeat the answer to the last question?
Yeah, Amit, you're there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay,
I'm there.
okay. The last question again.
Yeah. So maybe let's see. We were talking about the cost, and then anything that you want to add finally for whoever is still listening to us about landscaping overall. Maybe you are thinking about landscaping your house, surrounding area, or maybe there's a commercial project that is coming up. Maybe it's your office. We never talked about our offices. We talked about commercial big projects, our houses, even your office. Sometimes there's too much land in front of your office, and then it's always neglected. Maybe the security officer will plant something. So can you do something around that?
Yeah, so basically, I always say, I mean, from the beginning, I have told, we should, always talk to a designer. And yes, there are beautiful plants in, if you go to theater and, see, you can, choose a lot of beautiful plants. But if you don't know about the plant, if you don't know about the character of the plant, why you go and plant it there, you see, one day you see flowers, next day you don't see flowers. So, I mean, there are seasonal plants, people can't expect everyday flowers there. I mean, there are plants, trees which is beautiful when they are small, and 1 to 2 years down the line, you see a big tree and it's look ugly. So first you have to understand the characteristic of the plant or the tree, and you should get advice from designers. I mean, you should get advice from people who are involved with landscape designing and development. Yes, so I'm not there's nothing against architects. I mean, they are the people who actually give us the benefit of making a beautiful land by giving us a beautiful building. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not criticizing the planting horticulturists as well, because they're the people who are giving us the quality plant, quality product. So you have to learn. I mean, there are ways that you can learn. I mean, even YouTube is there. I mean, you can, the websites are there, and yeah, you can talk to us. I mean, anytime we are ready to help any person, any client,
Now,
any person.
yeah, I mean, if a client wants you to want to get connected to you, of course, everybody knows now you are Manjula S. Ratnasekara. Maybe you can go to your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, but other than that, your website.
Yeah, my website goes as www.thumbelina.gardens.lk, and yeah,
ThumbelinaGardens.lk. Okay, let me. Can you spell it for me? T H
T H
A.
U THUMBELINA Gardens, GARDENS.lk.
Let's see whether this is correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So go to thumbelinagardens.lk, and then you can see the kind of work. And then, of course, you have the About Us section, and then how to get connected. And yes, that's all for the day. So sorry about the last 1 minute. There's a little technical glitch. At least I guess we are so lucky to complete 1 hour without any problem. So
Anyway,
Manjula,
thank
thank
you.
you so very much
Thanks
coming
a lot,
to
Namita.
the
Thank you
show.
very much for the opportunity given. I'm so, thanks a lot. You're
Yeah,
always
thank you very
you're
much.
always helping me with advices.
Yeah, so what you and I do is actually we are adding value to our community. The
True.
knowledge that you are freely sharing with by sharing your presentation, your pictures, so that thank you so much for sharing those pictures. Otherwise, we words can't explain some of those. So amazing work that you are doing, and I hope you will have more strength and courage and resources to continue what you do, because this country needs more and more people who love trees. So,
Exactly.
friends, next time you want to landscape your garden, please don't cut that big tree. There are people who can relocate them, who can manage and build that landscaping around it. And then we are going to uh, join with you with another great program next week at 8:30 in the night. So, Manjula, thank you very much. And everybody, good night.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay, good night. Okay, we have another comment. Okay, thank you very much. Pradeep says thank you very much. He has been staying right throughout. Thank you, Pradeep. Good night and stay safe.
Okay.